commander of the skies. A whirlwind upon which pilots ride and conquer all threats. An archangel guarding our airspace and sovereignty. A war machine that cannot be downed. It is said there are two types of aircrafts, fighters and targets. This is the fighter to end all fights. The aggressive spirit, the offensive, is the chief thing everywhere in war, and the air is no exception. With spirit to spare, this is the Mirage that soars the skies, patrols them, and is a true chameleon. Whether it be reconnaissance missions, direct combat, or intercepting and swiftly shooting down enemy planes that dare violate Pakistani airspace, the powerful war machine, the Mirage, has remained a steadfast friend to the Pakistan Air Force.
After the 1965 war, USA imposed sanctions on Pakistan, and the PAF was the worst hit because all our inventory was of American origin, including the B-57s, the F-104s, F-86s, all the trainers. So it was a pretty precarious situation after the war. Mirage 3C had done wonderfully well in the Arab-Israeli war. So we placed an immediate order with the French, with the Dassault company, for the Mirage 3E, which was a more advanced version, a better radar. The first batch of pilots went to France for training in 1968 March. They flew in under the leadership of the OC Wing Commander M.M. Alam.
There were 6 of us, Alam Saab, Hakeemullah Saab, myself, Rao Akhtar, Farooq Umar and Arif Manzoor. Our return was planned to be from Montmarsan to Italy, from Italy to Ankara, from Ankara to Tehran and Karachi before coming back to Sargodha.
M.M. Alam decided that we will make a fly past over Karachi. So over Manoda, the aircraft pitched out one by one and landed at Masroor, and there we were given a rousing reception by the citizens of Pakistan. And that's where people came to know, and then morals went sky high कि जी अब हमारे पास नए जहाज आ गए हैं, अब हम इधर भी देख लेंगे, उधर भी देख लेंगे.
When 71 war came, I was commanding the Mirage Squadron. And the Mirage Squadron had the ability to do missions during day, was capable of flying at night, doing offensive missions at night also.
We had a siren for the first player to take off. There were hunters, 2 of them, attacking Kesar. So we went after these 2 chaps and they split. So got to the guy on the right, and when they were out of their attack mode, I let go a strafing shot, guns. तो उसके left wing route पे sparks and bit of a smoke. I pulled up and Sohail said, "Sir, ये चढ़ाई वाले साहब go." I said, "Go." So he let go and he fired a missile. That went and hit the aircraft, and aircraft broke into 2.
I went up in the air. I was hand with the Kesar sector, I got in contact. They handed me over to Krana radar. He said, we have a bogey for you. It is coming from on Jhelum River. From Khushab, it is heading towards Miawali. I rechecked my switches and my radar switch was on standby rather than on transmit. So the moment I put it on transmit, I got the blick, and that is the quickest lock-on I had on the aircraft. It was less than 3 miles. I fired my missile and it hit the left engine of the Canberra and it just fell off. That is the kill I got.
We were patrolling between Gujranwala and Faisalabad at a height of about 3,000 to 5,000 feet. The Indian aeroplanes were coming to the border, attacking our troops and also the railway line. Suddenly, I heard a very excited voice from the controller saying that we have positive contact with Indian aeroplanes firing at our troops in Cham area. When we made contact with the Indian airplanes attacking our troops, and they flew underneath us in the opposite direction. So we immediately made a turn behind them and we ended up about 3 to 4 miles behind these aeroplanes. They were Su-7s and they were exiting very fast. I caught up with one aeroplane and I fired one missile and I saw that my fuel was very low. So I was about to turn back when I saw the other aircraft very close to me because I was closing in very fast onto him. So I just turned a little bit, put my sight on the Indian aircraft and fired my guns. And after that, I don't know what happened because I had to turn back very quickly without looking at the results of the shooting. The Indian Air Force history has confirmed that you have a positive kill in which the Indian pilot died and the other pilot landed back at his base with a lot of bullet holes. That means I had damaged the other airplane. Air Commodore Kaisar Tufail wrote an article in the Defense Journal and he covered the entire episode. And of course, Gurpran Hussaini made a beautiful painting and he presented me with a copy which is behind me on the wall.
Mirage was the only very high performance reconnaissance aeroplane that we had. So the Mirages were doing excellent work throughout. This was just before, I think, the war. We had received information that the Indians are deploying fighter squadrons to the valley in Kashmir, Srinagar. So I was told to take another aeroplane with me, 2 aeroplanes, and we went to Srinagar, photographed it, and we brought the evidence. Yes, it is active. When we were making the photo pass, you could see that there is a Caravel transport aeroplane lined up and there was a net on takeoff. You see, you can see in that photo run that the net is taking off and you're taking photograph. Take, click, 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 and the net is airborne. You can see that.
I was the flight commander of the only Mirage fighter reconnaissance force. I made 1,000 pictures along Kathua Samba in Kashmir area. Was orders for me कि नैनाकोट बोट ब्रिज को फोटोग्राफ करना है at night with photo flash cartridges. And night photography requires that you have to fly at 3,000 feet, wing is level, close to Pathankot. 1,000 feet, 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 यानी कि उनके शेर के मुंह में पंजा डालने वाली बात है. Now when you fire a 2 million candle par cartridge at Pathankot, to Adampur and Halabada pick you up. When Farooq Haider Khan was the controller, said, sir, your photo flashes have been picked up and 2 MiG-21s have seen you and they are closing in very rapidly. In the meantime, I looked back and I felt कि पीछे एक वेरी कार्ट्रिज टाइप येलो ऑरेंज फ्लेम मुझे नजर आया 6 o'clock पोजीशन टू मी एट नाइट. तो मैंने कहा ये वेरी कार्ट्रिज तो हो नहीं सकता क्योंकि वो तो ज़मीन से नज़र आना चाहिए, ये तो हवा में से नज़र आ रही है. देन आई रियलाइज कि इट वॉज द एटॉल मिसाइल दैट ही हैड फायर्ड एंड द मिसाइल बिकेम बिगर एंड बिगर. So I turned a little and then it overshot me from the left and shattered on the ground. तो जनाब मैंने देखा कि ये दूसरा जहाज़ भी आया है, उसकी भी मिसाइल फायर हुई है. तो I broke hard left and I went down. I was at 3,000 feet, I went down to about 1,200 feet क्योंकि उधर terrain ही 1,200 feet के करीब है. So this guy, his missile missed me, but he shot his leader off. इस मिसाइल से उसने अपने लीडर को मार दिया. Strange.
Especially talking about the reconnaissance capability, the aircraft contributed immensely towards the requirements of the country, of the different armed forces, even for the survey of Pakistan, to continually update the maps and of course help. And this became very handy, especially in the mid-80s when there was an intrusion in Siachen and the enemy had to be located.
During 1971, the Pakistan Navy did not have any maritime recce capability, nor did they have any strike capability of either the submarines or the surface vessels. Similarly, the Pakistan Air Force also did not have any capability of hunting out surface vessels and then attacking them either during day or during night. So this need was felt badly, and the Pakistan Navy was immediately equipped with Atlantic recce aircraft as well as Sea King helicopters. Both of these put together had the ASW, anti-submarine warfare and anti-surface vessel warfare capability. In addition, the Pakistan Air Force was provided with the Mirages, the maritime attack version. And what we saw was that the reach of the Pakistan Navy and Pakistan Air Force combined from zero, it extended up to as far as 250 nautical miles all around the coast from the eastern end to the western end. So that was a remarkable capability of the Mirages, which carried the Exocet. And after more than 30 years of service, this role was then transferred to No. 2 Squadron, which has the JF-17 with a maritime attack missile, where the reach has extended even further. So Mirages have provided a sterling service in the maritime attack role also, and they can truly be called a multi-role weapon system of the Pakistan Air Force.
The sleek design, the robust and a very responsive engine enabled the aircraft to be used in air combat, and at the same time its characteristic where it would lose energy, lose speeds in maneuvering, allowed the concept of energy maneuverability to be inducted into the Air Force. I found that the takeoff and landing of Mirage was the two most critical phases, especially for the new pilots.
From 1990 onwards, we were lucky to get a break when several countries were retiring the Mirages, starting with Australia, and then France, and then Spain, Lebanon, and Libya. So we overhauled most of these Mirages, and hats off to our technical personnel at the Pakistan Aeronautical Complex, who were able to not just overhaul them, but their general maintenance and repair was also carried out by them. And we were able to get 104 of these used Mirages airborne. So all put together, 96 and 104, the Pakistan Air Force flew 200 Mirages. And other than this, there was some support available in 75 odd aircraft which were not airworthy, but they were cannibalized for spares. So that's how we got our Air Force going with the Mirages for over 50 years. We right now are the only country in the world which flies the Mirage 3 and 5, and it's remarkable that we can maintain and we can fly different variants of the Mirage 3 and 5 in Pakistan.
February 26, 2019. India's misadventure into Pakistan's sovereign airspace by cowardly flying in at wee hours of the night. The immediate response of PAF fighters forced them to turn back and hurriedly dropping off their bomb over forests, hence missing the target. Pakistan took this as a violation of its sovereignty.
पाकिस्तान रिटेलिएट करने का सोचेगा नहीं, पाकिस्तान रिटेलिएट करेगा.
Make no mistake, PAF when responds to irresponsible act, we may not always exercise restraint.
Jets from different squadrons took off to carry out a standoff attack against legitimate and pre-designated military targets in Indian-occupied Kashmir. Our Mirages led the strike package, simultaneously engaging 6 targets, but intentionally steering away with great accuracy in open space before impact. Indian military garrisons saw the might and mettle of the 50-plus year Mirage, sending a clear reply and warning, demonstrating Pakistan's resolve and capability.
Mirage rebuild factory started as a small project in year 1974 with the name of P741. The name of Mirage rebuild factory was given to this project in year 1978. And first aircraft was inducted for overhaul. That was GV1 in year 78, which was later on produced in year 1980. You can appreciate in a way that we have last year accomplished GV4 of this aircraft, and GV cycle is after every 10 to 12 years time frame. Right? OEM had defined GV2 as a last curriculum of this aircraft, which subsequently we brought to GV3, and last year first GV4 aircraft has been produced. It would be important to highlight that we have over the years repaired close to 2,000 plus aircraft which got damaged during various operational employments and all that stuff. Using the same capability, we have repaired 2 SAB aircraft, which even OEM had told us not to do that. And this has saved a lot of foreign exchange for this country and has given us tremendous boost that we can also recover big aircraft. So this speaks volume of the capability which this factory has acquired over the years. This speaks tremendous about the skill level of the workforce, engineers and technicians. They are primarily our source of pride for Pakistan Air Force.
This is thanks to the PAF engineers who are looking to the future, constantly reinventing the machine and putting the aircraft through stringent quality assurance checks and maintenance inspections. Now, more than 50 years later, the Mirage flies on, ever the classic, defying its life cycles. This is the story of that very legacy. The story of the magnificent and majestic Mirage, Pakistan's formidable weapon that has defied age, defied the odds to remain an integral part of Air Force's tactical attack and air defense capabilities. The Mirage has time and again proved its mettle for the PAF. The Mirage today remains an imposing multi-role fighter, upgraded with a whole new skill set, but with its primary vision intact, to strike deep into enemy territory with many an arsenal, and to its strike power and bridge the lining gap in night air defense. 50 years on, Mirage's final chapter has yet to close. The Mirage's story is far from over. Whether defensive or offensive, to protect our airspace or to strike fear in the hearts of insurgents, the Mirage takes to the skies like a reliable, formidable friend. No Air Force has operated the Mirage aircraft for this long. No aircraft has served as a backbone for its forces for an astonishing 5 decades and counting. The country salutes and pays tribute to the incomparable, irreplaceable Mirage fighter jet. We owe a great debt to the Mirage for its astonishing journey, for being the longest serving steed in the force's arsenal, for being a force to be reckoned with, for helping secure Pakistan's past, present and future.
Pakistan!